Welcome back to the May 2022 Accounting Working Group podcast. I'm your host, Stein Smith, and I have some great news to honestly talk about here this month. That our NFT primer introductory white paper is finally published, and I do know that there have been quite a few of you who have been contributing, editing, working on this current white paper for a while now, and so it's really great to actually have it out the door and finally published in partnership with our friends at CPA.com. And during our episode here, I do plan to carve out some time that you go through and to walk through the actual document itself, because it honestly really does highlight quite a few areas that there are still some real questions on, even though that as of our May 2022 recording, right, that the FASB has now finally added crypto asset valuation, reporting, and all the rest onto its future research plan. But they haven't added it all, right? And the area that is going to be researched and focused on is a relatively narrow area. So even though headway is, I think, finally being made in terms of trying to add some clarity and some more transparency on the auditing, valuation, tax, entries, bookkeeping issues around crypto assets, there still are quite a few open areas. And so I do have the actual white paper here, which I'm going to pull up here in just a quick minute. And if anybody is interested in having access to the full to the full actual document itself, it is available both at CPA.com and WSBA.co. And so obviously our sort of main area here to try to focus on is really trying to hone in on the valuation, tax possibly, attestation, and then honestly how anybody working in corporate accounting, public, private, governmental areas of it should honestly try to analyze NFTs. And it is all too easy to only focus on the headlines, on some of the dramatic price swings upwards, downwards, and sort of the high profile people, right? Be it athletes, entertainers, and all the rest who are getting involved in this space and have been quite active in this area. But for any current conversation or a ongoing conversation in the future, either internally or to a external client, right, the absolute first item that has to be brought up is actually, what is a NFT, right? And as we all know, this whole blockchain crypto asset area is an extremely broad area, right? And even both terms, blockchain, crypto assets, or virtual assets, digital assets, depending, are a broad umbrella term, right? And the absolute first item to always try to hammer out is actually what is being talked about. So the whole team that was a part of this project, again, Accounting Working Group members and folks at the AICPA and at CPA.com, kind of came up with a good sort of comprehensive definition that is broad enough to be understandable, but also hones in on sort of what makes NFTs different, as opposed to other more traditional cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or other privately issued coins and tokens like a stable coin. So I think all of that is quite helpful. And then also in this in our document right here, there are hyperlinks to actual corporations, right? Household names, big time companies that everybody knows. Right? We have Campbell's Soup, Coca-Cola, household names who are introducing NFTs into their product lines, even as only sort of a marketing tool at this point, right? Having that backdrop and those examples always helps trying to get the point that NFTs are a real business opportunity and they aren't just some new idea, right? Or some new short-term, you know, fad. But all of that does always help with that. And then now we actually dive into some of the operational guts, right? What about the accounting, right? Because obviously, the accounting working group has a, I think, sort of lens tilted towards or a bias towards issues in this area. And so, as with anything that operates in this crypto asset space, virtual asset space, digital asset space, right? There are still plenty of open questions and open items, even as more and more companies and individuals, IRAs, governments are more comfortable with crypto, using crypto, developing crypto, leveraging crypto, even as all of that happens, right? And I do know that as of this recording date, there has been some pretty severe price drawdowns in some areas of the crypto asset space. But even as all of those items become part of the everyday conversation, right, there are still a lot of questions and open items out there. So hopefully our primer here can help you sort of walk through and to analyze both internally and externally, right? A few core areas to try to focus on in any ongoing conversations. And then adding in some extra hot sauce here, we actually chose to also try to integrate or try to touch on the idea of, all right, well, if I have a NFT as either an individual or institutional holder, and I'm earning income off of that NFT, and it's in the form of coins or new tokens, how are those earnings taxed? Are they earnings and all of that? And I do know the whole case, IRS versus Jarrett, is still in the courts. It's obviously going to be a long drawn out process, but all of that has pushed all of that conversation off the back burner and onto the front burner. And so all of us did also feel that it was worth mentioning here, right? That if you as a investor own a asset and you're able to earn income off of that asset, it's always, I think, a excellent idea to understand how those earnings are actually taxed. So hopefully we added some value there. And then also right here, sort of a common question that I've heard quite a bit, and I'm sure that all of you have too, is, all right, in actual terms of ownership, who owns what in this NFT conversation? Who owns what, and then how do I prove ownership? And so our primer tried to go through and to really analyze and to try to break down in a understandable way, right? Who owns what, and how are those ownership rights confirmed, verified? Then how are these rights going to impact how these NFTs are ultimately confirmed, valued, and then actually shown on any external financial statements? And so having these, on the one hand, basic conversations, but on the other hand, really critical conversations, either internally or to external clients, is a good way to have us, as the trusted business advisor, right, to have real conversations, asking questions and hopefully answering questions of sort of real business concern to our current clients and our future clients. And then to try to present it in a sort of full way. We also touched on the idea of a NFT audit, right? Actually trying to build on who owns what, how is this ownership verified, and all the rest. Then a sort of obvious add-on is, all right, how do we audit this? And I do know that the whole conversation around auditing crypto, auditing privately issued coins and tokens is an extremely hot area, and it always brings out a wide range of answers. But it is critical to, at the very least, have this conversation as to, okay, how do we audit a NFT, and then also in that conversation, in the context of an audit, are we auditing the underlying blockchain? Are we auditing the actual token, or are we auditing the ownership chain, right? And so having those conversations and asking those very nuanced questions is only possible if all of us are on the exact same page, right? With the background, the context, terminology, both ourselves and our external clients. And then to try to sort of link NFTs to a other area, right, of extreme interest is this idea of the metaverse. And while the overall buzz and hype on the metaverse has cooled off a bit in the last few months, I would be hard pressed to argue that the overall sort of future and trend towards how people interact and companies interact is going to be entirely physical, right? That really by any examination of the marketplace, there is going to be more and more interaction. Business, education, commerce, concerts, everything is ultimately happening more and more online, either entirely or in a hybrid like option. And so as all of that is evolving, right, there is going to be a really big need for a product or a tool or a application to help everybody keep track of who owns what, and to try to bridge the actual tangible world to this online world. And so all of that is also a opportunity for NFTs, on top of the option to allow holders of NFTs to actually tokenize ownership of a building or other physical assets, all of which also then introduces a whole other host of questions around valuation, governance, rights, obligations. And obviously, as of right now, our white paper, and no one white paper, has all of the answers. But at the very least, right, in order to give our internal colleagues and external clients the best and most business oriented advice possible, we all have to be able to ask questions like this, and to help our either internal colleagues or external clients understand answers as they do pop up. And so then to try to sort of wrap up our primer here, right? And obviously our primer is by no means a exhaustive examination of every possible question or issue around NFTs, but it honestly really was written and edited to really serve as an introduction or a primer to this area for individuals and firms trying to offer client advice, and for any entrepreneurs who are interested in this area and who are possibly interested in either issuing their own NFTs or rather minting their own NFTs, or being involved in any capacity. So it really is a very interesting area. It's a fast growing area, and it really has a lot of opportunities for the industry and for all of us out there. And again, I do want to thank everybody who was a part of this project. It was a real team effort, and including our friends at the AICPA and CPA.com, who, as always, really helped sort of craft this paper into a really comprehensive, well organized and product, and honestly do a great job with the layout and help us as a working group and blockchain alliance really publish our content in the best and the most high impact way possible. So I do hope everyone is doing well and that all of you have a great month, and I'll see you all next time.